Hi guys, and welcome back to another video game with the powers. I'm Jake, and in today's video, we are bringing you another episode in our Learn and Play series. If this is your first time watching a Learn and Play video from us, essentially what I do is split the video into two distinct parts. In the first part of the video, I go down to the table and show you guys how to play the game and teach the game to you, hence the learn portion of our tagline. And in the second part of the video, I show you and do a miniature playthrough or a sample playthrough of how a couple turns or rounds might look of that actual game so that you can see how it is played, hence our Learn and Play tagline. The board game that we're featuring in today's video is going to be Tah Wars, the Dice Tower game. This is published by boardgames Studios. This is a game for 1 to 6 players, ages 8+, right around 60 minutes per playthrough. And this one right here is all about battling with a dice tower. So essentially you are taking on the role of 1 of 6 races, and each race is going to have a dice tower. You're going to be going around this map collecting resources. You're going to be chucking dice out onto the board as your units, and you are trying to be the overall victor who becomes the ruler of the land of Tah. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump down to the table where we can learn and play Tah Wars together. All right, guys, so we are down here at the table where we got everything set up for a playthrough of Tah Wars. Now, I do want to note that this is the Kickstarter edition of the game, so if you pick this one up in retail, there might be some things that you see in today's video that will not be in your copy of the game. I do also want to note that I have my camera completely zoomed out for this. The board here is a good sizable board, but of course you have some very large dice towers that you're going to be chucking dice all over this board, but the camera is fully zoomed out so you can see the board in all its breadth. And what I'm going to do as we move through this how to play and teach and play through, I'm going to be zooming this camera in to kind of focus on distinct parts of this particular game. But essentially, like I said, guys, you are taking on the role of a 1 of 6 races. You're going to have a player board that's going to have some dice and some components here. And I'm going to drop these down here on the board, and you're going to have this nice handy dandy dice tower. So let me go ahead and zoom this camera in, and let's talk about how you are actually going to play Tah Wars. So let's start off with your overall objective. Your overall objective is to be the first one to 5, or not really the first one, is to claim 5 victory crowns. So these victory crowns are denoted on your player board right down here, okay? Now there are 3 distinct ways that you will be able to gain these crowns. The very first one is you can trade in resources in order to gain a crown. So there's going to be a particular round or phase where you're going to be able to trade in resources. And so there are 4 distinct resources in the game. We have fish, we have wood, we have stone, and we have crystals. And so you can trade in 3 of each of these resources in order to generate 1 crown. So that is the first way that you'll be able to gain crowns in this game. The second way is with the use of quest cards, all right? So there is going to be an abundance of quest cards in this game that you are going to be able to pick up, and some of these quest cards are going to allow you to trade in certain things or accomplish something in order to generate a crown. So this specific quest card is going to say it's of a defensive card, which I'll explain these cards in just a minute, but if you manage to successfully defend that number, then you would generate a crown for that. Now, there's abundance of different quest cards. As I mentioned earlier, there's attack quest cards, defend quest cards, and trade quest cards. So there's going to be each of these quest cards with that crown symbol for you to be able to accomplish them to gain crowns. And the very last thing is attacking each other or attacking the other players on the board. If you manage to successfully attack a player, that'll generate you 1 crown. So those are the 3 ways to generate crowns. Once one player has reached 5 crowns on their particular player board, then what'll happen is everybody else will play 1 more final round. If that player is still the only player with 5 crowns, then they are the sole victor. Okay, so now that we know the overall objective of Tah Wars, let's really dive in and take a look at the particular rounds and phases of the game and how to exactly play this one. So there are going to be 4 distinct phases or rounds to Tah Wars. This is going to be the quest board round or phase. And I'm going to talk phases here. So the quest board phase, the give orders phase, the recruit and trade phase, and the navigate and deploy phase. So starting off in this quest board phase, as I mentioned earlier, guys, there is an abundance of quest cards in this game that you're going to be able to pick up. And it's actually mandatory that you pick these quest cards up because they mechanically have a huge impact on the game and are part of the main mechanics of this game. So what's going to happen, guys, is you are going to create a market row of these cards off to the side somewhere on the table and not necessarily on the board. And I'll bring these cards down here so you guys can get a better look at them. And in this particular phase, in player order, each player is going to choose one of the following options, all right? Either they're going to take a quest card from the row or the top of the deck, or they are going to discard a quest card from the row. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are 3 distinct types of quest cards. The very first one is the trade quest card. So there's a number of different trade quest cards available. So you'll have one that'll look like this that'll ask you to trade in multiple resources. So when you look at these cards, it's going to ask you to trade stuff at the top to get the reward at the bottom. So in this particular case, you would trade in 1 wood, 1 fish, 1 stone, and 1 crystal to gain 1 defense and 1 health. All right. This one is a simple card, so you'll trade in a resource to gain that item. So 1 fish for 1 health. This one will ask you to trade in 1 crown to get a D20 and a D12 dice. Okay, so those are kind of the 3 different styles of trade cards. Now, when it comes to these trade cards or quest cards in general, you will note that there's going to be a little symbol or a bubble with a color at the top. In order to complete these quest cards, you must be in a certain region on the map that matches that particular quest card. So before I continue with these quest cards, there are 5 distinct regions here in the game. We have the rivers, okay, which of course is going to be the blue areas. All right, that one is super easy. You would have forests, which are going to be the green areas. You will have mountains, okay, which are going to be what a mountain would look like. You will have neolite is what they call it, or crystals. So crystals over here, and I got crystals up here that you can barely see. And then the last one is going to be the cities, right? There's city here, and then there's going to be a city down here as well. Now, these are all denoted by lines on the map. So let me zoom in here just a little bit bigger and point out some of these lines. So when it comes to the river guy, obviously the lines right here, this shore looking line is going to be that river line. The rivers are easy to spot, right? When it comes to the forests, so again, the forests are going to have this green line going around them. So technically, this whole area that I'm moving over with this red stick here, that whole area is considered a forest area, okay? And then of course, this would be a river right here. As you can see, the lines are denoting that this section here is a forest. It cancels that off into a river. All right, this is gonna be a city. Okay, again, you can see everything on the board, guys, is going to be outlined in a certain color, and that's how you know what it is. You can see the edge of a mountain right here. So everything is going to be a distinct color. Rivers are blue, forests are green, mountains are orange, cities are yellow, and then our neolites, or the crystals, are going to be purple. So when you are completing these particular quest cards, you must be in that specific region in order to complete it. So you must be in a city region to complete this one, river, neolite region in order to complete that one. Okay, so that was the first type of quest card, the trade card. That is the regions and kind of how they work. The second type of quest card is going to be an attack card. All right, so an attack card is your tower must be in that region. You must also have dice in that region as well. And your total attack value on the dice and on your player board, so you'll have an attack value here on your player board, must be greater or equal to the number that is on this particular card. So if you are 8 or above, then you will get that reward, which is 5 crystals. Okay, that is the second type of quest card that is called the attack card. The last type of quest card is going to be a defense or defend card is what they call it. So same thing, you must have dice and a tower in this area. If you equal or exceed this defense value, you would gain that reward. So in this particular case, you would gain a crown. So those are the 3 type of quest cards that you will see throughout the course of the game. And again, in this phase, remember, each player is going to either do one of 2 things. You are going to accept a quest card from the row or the top of the deck, or you are going to discard a card from the row. Now, you can only have 2 quest cards in your player area at one time. So whenever you gain a quest card, you'll kind of have a player area of your choosing where you will place these quest cards. So in this particular scenario right here, let's just say this blue player down here, he's already got 2 quest cards, so he cannot take any more quest cards. So he must take the discard a quest card action because he cannot accept another one. But that is our quest board phase where we are collecting these quest cards. All right, guys, moving on to the second phase of the game. This is going to be the give order phase. And in this phase, you're mostly going to be collecting and gathering resources. So there's 2 steps to this phase. The very first one is whatever region your dice tower is in, you will collect that specific resource. So if your dice tower is on a river, you'd gain a fish. If your dice tower is on a forest, you gain wood. If it is on a mountain, you would gain a stone. If it is in a crystal area, you would gain, and he's off the map, but if he's over here, I think, yeah, if he's in a crystal area or a neolite area, you'd gain a crystal. And then if he is on a city or they're on a city, then you get 1 resource of your choice. So that's the very first step in this phase. The second step is if you have any dice, let me just throw some, actually, we'll do this. If you have any dice out on the board, all right, and then let's do this here and see what we get. Okay, if you have any dice here on the board, you now have the option with your dice to either gather or stay. So in this step, how this is gonna work, if you choose to gather with that specific dice, you will gain the amount of resources on that in that region of the number that is on your dice. So in this particular example right here, you saw I have a D6, which the number is 3. And zoom this in so you guys can see it a little bit better. So I have a dice with the number 3 in the forest region. What I can do is choose to gather with this dice. I would take this dice, put it back on my player board, and then I would be able to generate 3 wood, okay? So any of the 4 main regions that have a resource, so rivers, forests, mountains, and neolites, that will generate you that many resources that is on your dice. Cities will still only get you 1 resource no matter what the number that is on your dice. So even if I had a 4 in this city region, I would only be able to collect one specific resource, okay? Now, there are some restrictions, or not restrictions really, there are some other rules when you get to like dice that are in between on a border or something like that. I'm not gonna go into detail about that because that's a little bit more advanced and tricky, but just know the main thing with this particular step is if your dice are out there, you can choose to gather with them or stay. If you gather, you get the amount of resources in that region that is on that dice. This dice goes away and you will have to buy that dice back again to use on future turns. If you choose to stay with your dice, so let's say the 3 is here, I want to stay with this dice, I would increase it by 1 and then my dice would stay there. So now this becomes a 4. And on my next turn, I could take 4 wood, or that's going to be a higher value for me if I want to complete a quest card that is attack or defense, okay? So that is this second step, the give order step, where basically I'm getting resources and then choosing with any dice that is on the board to gather resources with them or keep them on the board and increase their value. All right, moving on to step number 3. This is gonna be the recruit and trade in step, all right? This is gonna allow you to buy dice and crowns. So let me zoom in on our player board here. So in order to buy dice, this one is very simple, guys. Oop, let me move all my dice back. So in order to buy these dice, you are going to pay the amount of resources that it shows next to the particular dice itself. So this is gonna be your population area. This is where all your active dice are gonna be that you have bought. The D4 is always gonna be active in this population area. If you want a D6, you need to spend 2 fish in order to gain a D6, 2 wood for a D8, you need 3 stone for a D10, you need 3 stone for a D12, and then 1 of each resource for a D20. When you buy or acquire that particular dice, you will just drop it here in your population area, and then of course reduce the number of resources that are on your player board. So that's the recruit and trade step with the dice. In this step, you can also trade in resources to generate 1 crown. All right, step is super simple and easy. So that's all we're doing here, recruiting dice and recruiting crowns if we have the resources to do so. All right, guys, moving on to phase number 4. This is gonna be the navigate and take actions phase. So in this phase, you're gonna do 2 distinct actions here. The very first one is going to be the navigate action. You have the choice to either move your dice tower or rotate your dice tower. So when you are electing to move your dice tower, you can simply move your dice tower a few inches, or centimeters, I should say. When it really comes to the movement though, however, you wanna be using this movement stick. So each player is going to have a movement stick in your color. What you'll want to do is place this movement stick underneath your dice tower and just have your dice tower sit on top, or a portion of your dice tower can sit on top of this stick if you really want to get the most out of your movement. And you will just simply slide your dice tower along this stick, and then wherever you want that spot to be, you'll slide the stick out from under your dice tower. So you are only allowed to move as long as the stick is. So like if I wanted to move down here to the river, I could slide it all the way over here, and as long as a section of the dice tower was still touching the stick, which it is here, then I can go ahead and slide it off just like that. And technically I cheated a little bit because I pulled this up, but I still have some there. I would slide it out, and now my dice tower is on this this river. Now, a critical component with this movement, guys, is you must make sure your dice tower is always facing the same direction when you are moving. So if you're facing the north here, you must always remain staying to the north, no matter if you move up, down, left, or right, diagonal. Any direction that you move, you have to stay facing that same direction. So that is the movement component of it. Or instead of moving, you can choose to rotate your tower. Rotating your tower is simple as rotating it however many degrees you want to. So simply rotating it there, that counts as a valid movement. If I want to rotate it all the way there, that is a valid movement. Again, just make sure you are not moving your dice tower to the left, right, or any direction while you are rotating. Or the third thing you can do, guys, is neither. So your choice, you can move, you can rotate your dice tower, or you can do none of the above. Now, if you happen to move your dice tower very close to another dice tower, you must always make sure that a D20 dice can fit in between the 2 dice towers. As long as a D20 dice can slide right in, and it really says slide right in. So in this particular scenario, I would have to go from the top here, and the D20 dice would be able to fit there, and we would be good. So that would be as far as I could come with this particular dice tower. So they say a D20 dice must be able to always to slide in between the 2 dice towers for it to be a valid move or rotate action. All right, guys, so that is the navigate step. Now let's go to the take action step of this phase. The very first thing is you can deploy your active dice, okay? This is super simple. All of your dice that are in your population area, you can just go ahead and drop your dice down in any order that you would like and deploy them out onto the board as such. And of course, we've already talked about what some of these number of values mean. So dice will stay out. Boom. You do not have to deploy all of your dice that are in your population area. You can save some of these particular dice if you would like for future rounds. And yeah, you can deploy them in any order that you choose. So that is standard deploying a dice. If you want to attack a player, okay, let's say I'm in the river here. Before you deploy that dice, you must know that you're using that dice to attack. So my D6 here, this is going to be an attack dice. I'm going to attack you, Mr. Player, right here. You're going to drop that dice. The dice hits the dice tower as long as it makes contact with the dice tower. We are going to find the number here. So this is going to be a 2. I will now use this 2 here along with any of other attacking dice that I choose. So of course this would not be good enough. So I'd have to drop that. Okay, that would be an 8. So that is 10 total. So however many dice you contribute towards the attack, you add that value up. Again, you compare it to the defense value of the player that you are choosing to attack here. So his defense value is 8. And if it is greater than or equal to, you are successful in your attack. The defender will lose 1 health and the attacker will gain 1 crown. All right. So that is the using the dice to attack a player. All right. Important. After an attack, the attacker will raise their attack value by 1. So we got some dice over here that will increase, and the defending player will raise their defensive value by 1. So even if you do get attacked, there is still a positive outcome for you. It's going to make it a lot harder for you to get attacked the next time. Okay guys, last thing in regards to the attacking is your dice that only touched 1 tower. So in that scenario, those dice would stay out on the board. If they ricochet off and hit another tower, then those dice would be removed. The only dice that is always removed is the D20 dice. This D20 dice is strictly an attack dice. So every time you use it, it comes back onto your board to purchase later. That is it. Those are all 4 steps of the game, guys. Some miscellaneous stuff. If a die ever goes off the board when deployed from your tower, you return it to your population area at the end of your turn. However, if another player knocks your die off the board, the die goes back onto your player board to be recruited later. So that is as simple. I know that was a little intricacy. Hopefully I explained that really well. But that is essentially how you guys are going to play the board game Tah Wars. All right, guys. Now, what I'm going to do really quickly is let me reset this back to everything that I have it. And I'm going to show you a couple rounds of what this might look like. Okay. So let me go ahead and grab 4 cards out here. I'm going to drop these cards up here so that you guys can see them. And I know they're going to be on the board, and that is not ideal, but we'll see what we got. Okay, so those are the 4 cards that are out there. Let's go ahead and start with a couple rounds. So we are in the quest board phase. We'll start with the blue player over here. His first action of the quest board phase is going to be taking this quest card right here, which is an attack quest card, and he's going to put that in his player area, and we will draw a new card out there. Okay. This player right here, they are going to take this card, hopefully working on some defense, and they are going to put that card over there. All right, we're going to draw another card, and those are the cards that we have out. So that completes our quest board phase. Next, we're going into the give orders phase. So starting with the blue player over here, he is in a mountain region, so he can gain 1 stone on his player board, bringing him up to 3. He has no dice out right now, so no other gather actions for him. This player over here is going to in the forest, so he would gain 1 wood, bringing his wood up to 3. And of course, he has no dice as well. So now we can go to this recruit and trade in step. So the blue guy over here, let's see, he's got 3 stone, which he might just use that 3 stone to grab this dice, or what he can do, we'll max everything out. How about that? So we'll spend 2 fish to get a D6. We will spend 2 wood to gain a D8. And I think that's all he's going to do for now. All right, so that is going to be his recruit and trade in step. Let's go to the green player over here. We're going to spend 2 fish. Ooh, yeah, we'll spend 2 fish to D6. We will spend 2 wood, bringing him down to 1 to get the D8. We need stone, and we don't have enough for any of these particular dice. So that's going to be his phase 3 as well. Okay, moving on to phase number 4, the navigate and take action phase. I'm going to move. Let's see. He's got a mountain, so he needs to find a way to get to mountains. Actually, what he's going to do is instead of move, he's just going to rotate his tower that direction. Okay, rotate the tower that direction, and then he's going to deploy some dice. So let's go ahead and deploy the D8 first. He missed. Let's go D4. Okay, it's still on there. And then let's go that one. All right, we got a 3. That's 7. Yeesh. That is rough. Okay, so that is his deployment action over there. Let's go to this guy right here. What are we doing? We can't turn any quest cards because the tower and dice are not in a mountain region. Well, tower is not a mountain region, first of all, and we don't have enough to get 10, which is what we're going to need. All right, now over to this player. I think what this player is going to do is they're going to want to rotate this way, and they're going to go D4, and let's go D6. Yeesh, that is rough. That is rough. Okay, that player is finished with their phase. They now want to complete one of these quest cards. So they're going to trade in 1 stone in order to gain 1 defensive value. So his defense is going to be a 9. All right, guys, well, that is the end of 1 round of Tah Wars. So we take it back up to the quest board phase. So our blue player here is going to take a look at these quests, and we're going to do this one for a free rotation on our tower if we like. All right, and then this player right here is going to, we want to move. Ooh, we need, what do we want to do? Movement, I think, is what we're going to do with this one. Okay, so movement and bring a new one out. All right, so moving on to our next step, the give orders step. So the blue player right here is going to gather 1 resource from being in a mountain region. So he gains 1 stone, bringing him up to 4. He does have some dice out on the board that he can use. Let's see. So we have a 3. That's a 3 there. If you guys can see that. So we could get 3 more stone. That doesn't help. The 4 is on the border between the both, and the 7 is on the city technically, which I think what we'll do is gather this dice back. So this will go back and we get 1 wild resource of our choice. Let's grab 1 wood. Or no, let's grab 1 fish. We'll grab 1 fish for that. All right. Everything else is going to stay. So this dice is a 4. That's going to become a 5. And then that's going to become a 4 in the mountain region. Okay. That is our give order step. This person over here, give orders. Do we want to collect stone? Yes, we will. So we'll take the D4 dice back to gain 4 stone. So we're going to be all the way up to 5 stone. We're not going to gather with that. That's going to stay, and that becomes a 2. Okay. And that is our give order step. All right, recruit and trade in step now. So Over here to the blue player, let's see what we want to do. Yep, let's do 3, 1, 2, 3 stone to grab this D10. And I think that's all we're going to do. That's all we're going to do here. Alrighty. This player over here, what do we want to do? Let's do the same thing. 1, 2, 3 stone to grab a D10. Actually, that's the wrong D10. This is the D10. Perfect. Okay. Let's see what else we can do. We've already, D6 is out. We can't get the D12, can't get the D20. Okay, so that player is good with their give order step, or recruit and trade step. Sorry, recruit and trade step. And that is that. Okay, moving on to our navigate and take action. So we are going to move with this particular individual here, and we're going to slide all the way across, and we're moving into that. All right, so that's what we've done. We are going to not deploy any active dice. We are not going to attack a player, but we are going to complete one of our quests. So we will complete this particular quest right here. So we must be in a mountain region. Our dice tower must be in a mountain region. We must have dice in this mountain region as well. And we are looking for a value of 10. So we have a 5 right here. This is a 4, so that is 9. And then we do have a +1 on our player board, which gets us to that 10. So these dice come back to me, and we have completed this quest, earning us 1 crown, getting us 1 step closer to victory. All right, so that is the navigate and take action step. This player over here is going to rotate their dice tower just like this, and then they're going to deploy some dice. Let's do that and that. Okay, they've deployed all of their dice. They are going to complete a quest card now. So they're going to trade in 1 stone to be able to move. And they are in a forest region, so they are able to do that. And they will move into the river along right there. And I believe they return that way. And that is the end of the second round of this game. All right, guys. Well, look, hope you kind of got a good feel of, you can see what you're going to be doing throughout Tah Wars here. You're going to be gaining these quest cards. These quest cards are going to kind of tell you the direction or way you need to go and where you need to deploy your dice. You're also going to be able to look out for each other, but you guys are going to keep playing, doing these turns and rotating until one player gains 5 victory crowns. You play one final time, and if that player still has 5 crowns, then that player is the winner. All right, guys. Well, look, I hope you enjoyed this learn and play video going over Tah Wars, the Dice Tower game. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit that notification bell, drop down in the comments below. What do you guys think so far about Tah Wars? Do you think this is a game that you can get into? And of course, guys, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so we can keep bringing you some more awesome content. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.